This is a step-by-step guide to mastering Amazon PPC campaign optimization. I'm Chris Rawlings. I'm one of the single top spenders of Amazon ads on the platform with over $4 million in monthly Amazon PPC ad spend. I'm also a verified Amazon advertising partner, a designation given to only a fraction of a percent of Amazon advertisers. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to optimize your campaigns to maximize your Amazon profit. We're going to go through how to optimize auto campaigns, keyword targeted campaigns, product targeted campaigns, ranking campaigns, category targeted campaigns, video ad campaigns, and more. I'll also be giving you access to a cheat sheet later that breaks down step by step how to set up each of these campaigns. So with this video and the cheat sheet together, you'll be able to set up and optimize any Amazon PPC campaign like a pro. Optimization. Plus, the whole time I'm going to be rudely sipping on my ice hojita right in front of your face. Oh, that's good. That might have been a little too sexual. I also might be needing to stretch my, what is it? Not my calf, my glute. Doing a little jig because something is wrong in my butt right now. It feels like there's a tennis ball lodged in it. You can't see, I'm on a standing desk, but my leg is literally like stretched out straight right now. So just bear with me. Now these campaigns fit into a few different categories, right? There's auto campaigns, product targeting campaigns, keyword targeted campaigns, and I'm gonna go through how to optimize each one. So what does it mean to optimize a campaign? Well, if I click into one of these campaigns, here on the left-hand side, I'm gonna see a number of different tabs related to the campaign that allow me to optimize the campaign. You see bid adjustments, negative keywords, budget rules, campaign settings, and history. But that's not the only type of optimization we can do. If we click into the ad group itself, now we see other ways that we can optimize the campaign on the ad group level. There's ads, targeting, negative targeting, search terms, ad group settings, and history. Now, what I'm going to be walking through in this video is how to optimize your campaigns right in the ad console, right here, with no other tools, no other sheets, or anything like that. But there are other ways to optimize your campaigns, like using software. Now, let's start with auto campaigns. Auto campaigns used to be just for sourcing new keyword targets and new product targets, but now, recently, auto campaigns have been some of the best performing campaigns in some of our accounts. So they're not just about doing research and letting Amazon find new profitable targets for you. They can be profitable campaigns in and of themselves. Like for this brand in our portfolio, where an auto campaign is actually producing the most sales of any campaign at a very profitable ACoS. When it comes to optimizing auto campaigns, there's four main things to cover. There's keyword negations, bid adjusters, the bid, and variation optimization. All right, so let's optimize this auto campaign. So you could see I clicked into the campaign from the ad console, and on the left-hand side here, I can see all of the campaign level optimizations I can do. The most important one is this bid adjustments. Now, if you have enough data, you could look at the last 30 days, but if you don't have enough data, you might have to look at a larger time horizon. The key thing is that you just have enough data to optimize on. So I'm going to check the last 30 days, but I'm also going to take a look at year to date to make sure that the ACoS across the different placements is consistent. Okay, now what I can see here is that product pages is definitely my most profitable placement. You can see I have a 3.3% ACoS there. And even though the ACoS on the other two is also fantastic, my product pages is doing the best. Now, just to get back on the same page about what these different placements are, any campaign in sponsored products can show up three different places. Top of search, which is what you first see right under search results. Rest of search, which is all the rest of the ads that show up as you scroll down search results, and product pages, which is the ads that you see on product listings. And these different placements can perform very differently, which is why the bid adjuster is one of the most important campaign optimization actions that you can take on any campaign. So the game here is to increase the bid adjuster for the best performing placements as measured by your ACoS. And the increments you want to make are relatively small, so you don't want to go to like 900%. You want to increase the bid adjuster by 10%, 15%, 20%, 25% max. So we're going to do that here, increasing by 25% on our best one and by 10% on our second best one. Now let's click on the ad group itself, and we're looking at the optimizations on the ad group level. Now on the left-hand side, we're in the ads tab, and now we can see the different variations. Now what we're going to notice is there's going to be some variations that have a much higher click-through rate than other variations, and those are the ones we're going to want to focus on. So what we're going to do is turn off some of the variations that have a lower click-through rate because they're less likely to win the click amongst other competitors than our highest click-through rate ones on campaigns like this. Now, another thing you can do on the ad group level of an auto campaign is adjust the match types if there's a match type that's performing best. But for us, we like to segregate the match types into their own campaigns so that we have the most control over them. So right now we only have close match turned on, so there's nothing to really optimize here, except this is where we optimize the bid. Now the bid, there's a simple formula to determine what bid is the optimal bid for you. Now you might look at this campaign and say, oh wow, we got a great ACoS here at about 5%. That's an amazing ACoS. And that's true, we're getting a good ACoS on this campaign, but it's almost too good. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you're getting an ACoS that's that low, it likely means that you're bidding too low. You could be driving a lot more sales through that campaign, accept a higher ACoS that's closer to your actual threshold, but be driving a lot more volume. So you don't want the ACoS to actually be too high, obviously, but you also don't want it to be too low. And that's why we up the bid on campaigns, ad types, targeting that has a low ACoS, that's way below our target ACoS. So there's a simple way to calculate your ideal bid when you're doing campaign optimization. And it's as simple as this. It's sales generated from that campaign or that targeting group or whatever, divided by clicks, target ACoS. Now, why is that? Now, I'm gonna explain this so that you understand it. And this is gonna be game changing for those of you that have never understood exactly how to find the optimal bid. So let's say this particular targeting did $1,000 in sales and I had 500 clicks. That means that my revenue per click, each click on average, I'm gonna make $2 in revenue because 500 clicks brought me $1,000 in sales. So on average, my revenue per click is $2. So now I know for this particular target or this particular match type or whatever, my revenue per click, every time someone clicks, I'm gonna make $2 in revenue on average. Hope that makes sense to you guys. $1,000 in sales, it took 500 clicks. That means on average, every click makes me $2 in revenue. So now I know on average, every time somebody clicks, I make $2 for that particular targeting group. Now, how do I find my ideal bid for this? Well, if I wanted to spend $2 to make $2, I would bid $2 per click, because if I paid $2 per click and I made $2 per click, then I'm spending 100% of the revenue that I'm expecting to get from that click, right? But obviously we don't want to target 100% ACoS most of the time. So we're going to multiply this revenue per click by our target ACoS to get what we're willing to pay for a click. So if I know I make $2 per click and I want a 25% ACoS, meaning I want to spend 25% of my ad revenue on that ad click, then I'm going to bid 0.25 times what I expect to make per click, which is $2, which equals 50 cents. So I'm willing to bid 50 cents to make $2 because I know if I bid 50 cents and I pay 50 cents per that click, and I know I'm going to make $2 every time somebody clicks on average across the board, then I'm going to hit my 25% ACoS. So here's your final formula. Ideal bid equals sales divided by clicks times target ACoS. Boom. That's how you find out what your bid is. Now, this isn't an exact science. This gives you an idea of where your bid should be, but because bid adjusters are involved as well, it's not always exactly where your bid's going to be. You have to combine the bid and the bid adjuster to find the right place. But it gives you a ballpark range of where the bid should be, which is really helpful when you have no idea. Now, this also doesn't mean that you should instantly adjust all your bids based on this formula. It just lets you know how far off you are. Most of the time, you're gonna wanna make incremental changes so that you don't mess up something, especially something like this campaign that's working really well. We are probably not gonna boost the bid all the way up to our ideal bid based on our target ACoS. We're gonna go up incrementally. But before we change this bid, we're gonna first wanna check out our targeting. That's what we wanna do before we go into bid adjusters. So let's click the search term tab and take a look at the terms that we're advertising on. So you see the product targets at the top, and then you see the keyword targets down here. The search terms tab shows you what you're actually showing for. The targeting tab shows what you targeted. So there's a difference between what you told Amazon to target and what they actually ended up showing you on. So we're looking here for anything that's irrelevant. If there's anything irrelevant, we want to handle it with negative targeting first. So you could do negative keyword targeting or negative product targeting. Now here you could see we've already added a lot of negative phrase terms for things that we're not relevant for, like latex. Our product is not made out of latex, or silicone. Our product's not made out of silicone. A lot of other competitors are, and Amazon might show our ad for terms that include that. We know we won't convert well for them, so we added them as negative phrase terms. And that's what you want to do before you go into adjust the bid, is make sure you have your negative targeting handled, both negative product targeting and negative keyword targeting. So we already have all of our negative keywords added here, but to add another one, you just click that blue button, add negative keywords, and you can type in your negative keyword there. Normally you want to do negative phrase. Negative phrase means Amazon's not going to show you for any term that includes that word whatsoever. So you see we have vinyl here. We don't want Amazon to show us not just for people who search the word vinyl. That's a very broad word. It doesn't even really mean anything. We just don't want them to show us for any term that includes that word, which is why most of the time you want a negative phrase match, not negative exact match. Same for products. If you saw in the search terms tab that products were not doing well, certain product targets, just add that ASIN in the negative products tab, and that will keep you from showing on that ASIN in the future. This is one of the main ways that you optimize an auto campaign. So since we want to push a lot more sales through this campaign, we think it could do a lot more volume, and our ACoS is far below our target ACoS. We're gonna push the bid adjuster pretty significantly. We're still not gonna go crazy with it, but we're gonna find the ideal bid with the formula that I just showed you guys. And then we're going to push it somewhere closer to that ideal bid. So we're gonna do sales, which is 2,656 divided by clicks, 314, which is $8.45 per click, times our target ACoS of 25, which gives us $2.11 per click. So we're not going to change it all the way up to that. That's too dramatic of a change. And we have bid adjusters that up that bid automatically. We're just going to change it to $1, somewhere in between where we're currently bidding and where our ideal bid would be based on that formula. Because again, you want to make these changes incrementally. You don't want to do big jumps usually. All right, one down. Now let's move on to the next type of campaign that we want to optimize. And to navigate to it, what I'm going to do is open up this cheat sheet. Now, this is the cheat sheet I'm going to make available to you guys, and you're going to be able to download it in the link in the description of this video. This cheat sheet is going to be an incredible resource for you. It's all of the most profitable campaign setups in each of the 3 major ad types: sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. And for each campaign type, you can see here, here's a single keyword targeted campaign, a multi-keyword targeted campaign, a scavenger catch-all campaign, a product targeting campaign, a keyword targeted brand shielding campaign, auto campaigns. It shows for each one, if you click this little side button, exactly how to set up this campaign, what to put in every field, from targeting to starting bid to negative targeting to the placement settings to the bidding style. And it even has a video of how to set up that particular type of campaign, so there's no way to get lost. You literally can just watch us setting up that type of campaign and you can't possibly get lost. And I have this in this cheat sheet for you guys so that after watching this video and learning how to optimize these campaigns, you also will know how to set up each of these campaigns, which is basically the full picture. To get this cheat sheet yourself, which I highly recommend, you should click the link in the description of this video. It's the first link in the description of this video, and you can get the cheat sheet for yourself. So let's go to the cheat sheet and look at the next type of campaign that we're going to learn how to optimize, which is a multi-keyword exact match campaign. And we're going to be using sponsored products. So to optimize this campaign, we're going to click into the campaign itself. Now we're going to go to bid adjustments. And again, this is one of the most important types of campaign optimization. We're going to look at the ACoS across the campaign for each of these different placements: top of search, rest of search, and product pages. What we could see here is that the ACoS for top of search is actually the best at 24.8%. So we're going to increase the bid adjuster there. And we're also going to increase the rest of search because that's also performing really well compared to product pages. We're going to increase that by less because the ACoS is higher, but we're going to give that a little increase as well. Again, we want to do this in small increments. Don't do hundreds of percent at a time. Do 10 to 20 to 30% at a time max. You might think, oh, well, how do I lower the bid adjuster for the highest ACoS one? You can't do a negative bid adjuster, but what you can do instead is just lower the overall bid and then increase the bid adjusters for the placements that are working best. So that's another option to decrease the amount of play that Amazon is giving to the worst performing placement. Okay, so last time we talked through negative targeting, but in this case, because it's an exact match multi-keyword campaign, there's not really any negation that we have to do. However, Amazon doesn't necessarily show exact match campaigns targeting exact keywords always on that exact keyword. Sometimes it actually does show it for different keywords. So sometimes you might actually have to put keyword negations in your exact match campaigns, but for the most part, you're not really gonna have to worry about this. This is not a broad targeting type that gives Amazon a lot of leeway, like category targeting or expanded product targeting or auto campaigns like we just went through. So for this campaign, you don't have to worry about negative targeting very much at all. My glute, gotta stretch this glute. Oh, I'm losing it. Okay, now that we're in the ad group, we're gonna go to the targeting tab, and this is where a lot of the action is gonna happen. So here's where we see the actual keyword targets that we input. This doesn't mean this is necessarily exactly where Amazon is showing it, even if it is exact match, but this is what we input as our targets. And this is where we can adjust the bids of the targets that we input individually. So what we're gonna do is look at the ACoS to see how it's performing compared to the other targets, and adjust the bid based on where we want our ACoS to be. So in our case, in this account, 25% is our target ACoS. This top selling target is doing 45%, whereas all the rest of them are in the teens or 20s. So we're gonna decrease the bid on this top target to decrease some of the traffic going to that. Now it also happens to be the highest volume, which is why we don't wanna turn it off. We still wanna show up for that because it is a relevant term. Then for these other keywords that have good ACoS, we're gonna increase the bid. Again, we wanna do this incrementally. We don't wanna do huge swings, but since these are performing well, we wanna show up more for them. So we're gonna increase the bid incrementally for these targets that are performing well and are significantly below our target ACoS. Now, one thing to note here is this keyword that's getting a lot of volume and it's not a great ACoS, but it's still an important keyword. This may be a keyword that will isolate into its own campaign, taking it out of this multi-keyword campaign and putting it into its own single keyword exact match campaign so that we can tightly control it. This is called keyword isolation or keyword graduation. In this case, we're not going to do that yet, but we're going to keep it on the back burner, and we may end up isolating this keyword in its own campaign so we can have a high degree of control over this important keyword. All right, we're 2 down and I still have plenty of Hojicha left, so we are good. Let's take a look at the next very important campaign type that we're going to learn how to optimize. Here in the cheat sheet, you can find it here, which is the single keyword ranking campaign with one keyword geared towards driving ranking for that keyword. Now, this is a very important campaign type, so let's go down to one right now. Okay, here's a ranking campaign right here, a single keyword ranking campaign. You can see the ACoS is not super low. It's also not crazy high because, by the way, this is a very high competition consumables brand that I'm in right now. And the point of these campaigns, is what I'm about to get into, is not to have low ACoS. The point is to drive ranking to get more organic sales. So these campaigns are different in that you don't really have an ACoS target that's calculated the same way as the other campaigns. You still might have a target ACoS, which is like your highest allowable ACoS. But the main way to optimize these campaigns is to continue pushing for more and more placements if you can afford the ACoS, as long as it has been successful in driving more organic ranking. So you have to pair your campaign optimization in here with some kind of rank tracker to see for how long the campaign has been running, how your rank for that keyword that you were targeting has improved. And that way, you know, based on the more organic sales that you're getting from that campaign, if the campaign's actually worth it, not based on if the ACoS is profitable. We're not going for a profitable ACoS on campaigns like this. So let's click into the campaign and take a look. So here, similarly, you guys are gonna see some patterns here. We're gonna go to bid adjustments first. This is potentially the most important thing. And we're gonna take a look at our 3 main placements, top of search, rest of search, and product pages. And what you'll see is that top of search is getting a lot of the sales here, a majority of the sales. And product pages is not getting that many sales, and it's also the worst ACoS. So we really don't wanna boost product pages. But what we do see is that rest of search is also providing a good amount of sales and at a better ACoS. And here's the thing, this is a single keyword ranking campaign, so typically we wanna push top of search, and you can see we're already doing that here with an 80% top of search bid adjuster. But that being said, even though top of search does drive ranking impact more powerfully than any other ad type, rest of search still drives ranking. So if rest of search is doing better from an ACoS perspective and you can drive more sales with the same amount of ad spend, you still will wanna boost this up. So we're gonna boost this up a little bit, giving it a 15% bid adjusting boost. Now let's click on the ad group and take a look at the actual target here. Okay, so this is our target here, this target keyword, and here's where we adjust the bid. Now, this is where it gets a little dicey because you're not going to have the same kind of target ACoS as you do with your other campaigns, because it's more related to how powerfully this campaign is driving ranking for that keyword. So what you should do is pull up Helium 10 or another rank tracking software alongside your campaign optimization and take a look at, for the life of the campaign, how your ranking for that keyword has improved as you've pumped ad spend into it. And if it's done a really good job, you might have a high ACoS on the campaign, but you might be fine with that because of the fact that it's driving more organic sales. So you might up the bid or up the bid adjusters based on how powerfully this campaign has been driving organic ranking. And I am going to stretch my leg up to stretch my glute based on how powerfully my butt is screaming at me in pain. I'm gonna knock over my table. Yeah. Anyways, stop being silly. And that's the main duties that you have when you're optimizing a campaign that's a single keyword exact match campaign. Is you're just seeing how the ranking is improving and then adjusting the bid and the bid adjusters based on how the ranking improved. The only other thing that you might do is go into the ads section so that you can look at the different variations in there. And if you have variations, turn off the variations that are getting a very low click-through rate for that term so that you can maximize your number of clicks, because higher click-through rate, higher conversion rate means higher ranking in Amazon's algorithm's eyes. All right, 3 down. Next campaign type that we're gonna learn how to optimize, you can find in the cheat sheet here where it says multi-keyword targeted campaign broad, is a broad match campaign. Very similar to how you'd optimize a phrase campaign. And remember, you just click here on the left-hand side to actually see the setup of this type of campaign here. So we're gonna start by clicking into the campaign and we're gonna go over to bid adjustments. You guys are seeing a pattern here. This is one of the most important type of optimizations that you can do. Take a look at the performance of these different placements. Top of search is doing best. So we are going to add a top of search bid adjuster because not only is it performing best from an ACoS perspective, but it's also likely helping us drive rank in the most powerful way possible. So we're gonna add a 25% bid adjuster there. Again, we wanna do this incrementally. We'll also add a small bid adjuster to rest of search because it seems to be performing pretty well. And we're gonna leave product pages at 0 because it's performing the worst. Now, we're going to go to the campaign settings. And because we had this set up and down because we were having trouble getting impressions, we're gonna switch it to down only now that we're starting to get some impressions. And down only should generally be your default bidding strategy. Now over here in ads, we can see we just have the best performing variation is the only one turned on, which is good. Now let's go over to the targeting tab. And here's where we see the targets that we input. We input 6 targets here. Now these are broad, but you're gonna notice some of them have a plus in front of the words. And plus means that we used broad modified. Broad modified means we're telling Amazon definitely include the word that we put a plus in front of, but you can put other words around it and you could put these words in different order. Whereas broad match classically just means here's the word that I want you to target generally, but you could swap out any of these words for other words. So most of our targets are broad modified here. We use broad modified a lot, but we also have broad. Now let's take a look at the performance for these different targets. You could see this is actually a good situation here where the highest volume target is also our best performing target, or our second best performing target there. So that's a good thing. And that is this door stoppers decorative target that we have here. Now, before we adjust any of the bids, we're gonna go to the search terms to see if there's anything that we need to negate. So clear things to look out here for are any words that are very irrelevant to your product, but there's also other reasons to negate. Like in our case, we actually have a lot of these terms that are competitor brand names. And what we like to sometimes do is separate these terms out into a competitor brand targeting offense campaign. Now, this is similar to a defense campaign where it's all branded terms, but you only include your competitors' terms, not your own branded terms. So in our case, we're gonna actually negate these terms so that we can isolate them in their own campaign. So we're gonna negate all of the terms that include one of our brand's competitor names. So that's how to do negations when you want to isolate terms. But how about doing negations for terms that are not performing well? So how many clicks should you wait for in order to determine whether to negate a term? The general rule is wait till you have about 3 times as many clicks as you should have gotten to get a sale. That's a general rule for it to be statistically significant. If you haven't gotten at least 3 times the number of clicks that you should have gotten to get a sale, then it's probably too early to negate that term. You also have to use your subjective judgment. Like you can see here, we have a term that's spent cash here, but it hasn't made any sales. But we know by looking at the term that it's actually relevant for our product, very relevant for our product. So we're not going to negate that yet because we don't want to negate really highly relevant terms. So how do you know how many clicks you should get to get a sale? Well, you just calculate it based on your conversion rate. So let's go back to our little calculation doc here. So how many clicks should you expect to get a sale? It's 1 divided by your conversion rate. So if your conversion rate is 10%, 1 divided by 0.1 equals 10. So if my conversion rate is 10%, I should expect to get a sale every 10 clicks. Now, does this mean as soon as I get 10 clicks, I want to negate that term? No, because that's actually, you only have about a 64% probability that you're right when you've only waited until the exact number of clicks that you should wait to get a sale. You can only have a high probability of knowing that that's a bad term if you wait until about 3 times. That's where the statistical probability becomes actually relevant. So we would, in this case, wait till we got 30 clicks to negate that term. Now, again, you got to use your subjective judgment here because it's not always going to be that cut and dry. If you look at the term and it's highly relevant, you may not want to negate it. But if you look at the term, you've got 30 clicks and it might not be relevant, or there's some reason why you might not be converting very well for that term, then it might be time to negate, or at the very least, lower the bid for that particular target. So what we're going to do now is just make a list of all of the terms that we want to negate based on if they're, in our case, competitor terms that are already, first of all, not performing well, and also we want to isolate them, or terms that are just not performing well, and we're going to phrase negate them. So we have our list, then we're just going to go to negative targeting, add negative keywords, go to negative phrase, and we're going to paste our list in here. Click add keywords, and we've got our negations. And now we'll see them here along our other negations that we've already added to this particular campaign. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the targeting tab, and now we can do our bid adjustments. Now we've already done our phrase negation. So for this top sales target, we are pretty close to our target ACoS. So we're just going to decrease this very slightly, going from 1.25 to 1.20, because we're almost on track with that. It's just a little high. This next one, it's much higher. You can see the ACoS. And so we're going to decrease this. We decrease it by 25 cents in this case, which is decreasing it by about 20% in general. But remember, you can always do your little calculation to find the ideal bid for that particular target. In this case, this target, the second one down, it got $239 worth of sales. We're going to divide that by 100 clicks, and we got $2.39 revenue per click times 0.25, which is our target ACoS, meaning 59 cents is our ideal bid. But we don't want to decrease the bids by too much, too dramatically. So in this case, decreasing it by 25 cents is pretty appropriate. This one, we're also going to decrease. We're going to take it from 1.25 to 1.1. It's not too high above our target ACoS. And this one, we're going to increase a bit because it's below our target ACoS. Now we've done our bid adjustments and we have properly optimized this broad match campaign. Epic, you guys are doing great. We have a couple more campaign types to try, and the most important campaign type is actually still yet to be covered. So stick with me, guys. And one thing I'm going to note before we get into this next campaign optimization type is that my glute is already feeling a lot better. And not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I'm pretty sure that this ice hojicha is the reason, dude. If you guys have tight glutes or any other health problems, I would recommend drinking ice hojicha like me. It just cures everything. This is not medical or financial advice. Let's get on to how to optimize a product targeting campaign. In the cheat sheet you guys get, you'll see the product targeting campaigns down here under product targeting campaigns, and you can always click into them to see how to set up the campaign, but let's talk about how to optimize it. Okay, so I've clicked into a product targeting campaign here, and now I'm on the campaign level. I'm gonna go to bid adjustments. You guys know the drill. We're gonna go through the different placements and see which placement is performing best and adjust the bid adjusters based on that. So in this case, we see the top of search placement is doing the best, and actually by a significant margin, which is great because top of search also drives the best ranking. So we are going to adjust the top of search bid adjuster here. Now, just as a little caveat, remember, these are product targeting campaigns. So why would you have top of search and rest of search? Well, Amazon is showing us for search and product pages, no matter whether we're targeting products or keywords. Remember that. So we still want to adjust the bid adjuster based on whatever placement is doing best for the campaign, regardless of whether or not it's a keyword targeted campaign or a product targeting campaign. So in this case, we're adjusting it by 30%. Now we're going to go to the targeting tab and take a look at our product targets. Now, the first thing you notice is that for this campaign, even though we have a lot of product targets loaded in here, one of them is doing the best by far. It's got the lowest ACoS, and it's the only one really driving a significant amount of sales. Now, one thing we might want to do for a target like this that's doing so well, that's getting a vast majority of our sales and clicks at a good ACoS, is we may isolate this product target in its own campaign so we can have really tight control over it and not blend it together with all of our other product targets. So that's something that we may do. But in this case, talking about optimizing this particular campaign, what we're definitely going to do is adjust the bid on this particular target because the ACoS is significantly lower than our target ACoS. So we're just going to adjust it from $1 to $1.25 here. Remember, Normally we want to do this in increments, not do huge swings. Save that, and we've done our bid adjusters. Now this second target that's also getting some orders at a bit of a higher ACoS, but it's pretty close to our target ACoS, we're going to down adjust the bid a little bit. Now let's go over to the search term tabs to see where we're actually showing up. Now again, if we order this by click, so we see where our clicks are actually going, we're going to see, again, a vast majority of our sales and clicks are going to that top product that we may end up isolating in its own campaign here. It's got a good ACoS, it's getting lots of sales. This is a great target for us, and this is a great way for us to find out targets that are working really well. Now for the second one down, you can see it's actually a search term, not a product that we're showing on. And it's not doing quite as well from an ACoS perspective, but there's not really that many clicks. It's definitely not something that we're gonna wanna negate yet, especially since it's a highly relevant term. So we're probably gonna let more data come in for that. And for the rest of these, not too much data has come in. It's not really enough for us to make a judgment because we don't have statistically significant data on that. So we're not going to make big changes there. Nice work, guys. You're almost there to becoming an Amazon PPC optimization wizard. Now, the next one we have to do, and stick with me because we still have the most important campaign type yet to go. And I'm already more than halfway through my ISO teacher, so I'm going to make this fast for you. If you scroll down on the cheat sheet, you'll see the next campaign type that we're going to go over, which is a category targeted campaign. All right, so let's take a look at this category targeting campaign. So we're in the campaign here. First thing we're going to do is go to bid adjustments as normal and take a look at how our different placements are performing. So in this case, unlike the other few cases that we looked at, top of search is not doing the best. Rest of search and product pages is actually doing the best in this case. And even if we look at different time horizons, we could see that rest of search and product pages is for sure performing the best. So we're going to end up putting a bid adjuster on both product pages, which is performing by far the best. We're going to do a 30% bid adjuster on that, and rest of search where we're going to do a 15% bid adjuster. Now let's click into the ad group. So in targeting, we only have one category being targeted here, right? So there's just one target, quote unquote, because it's an entire category. It's a subcategory that we're in. And we're going to adjust the bid based on our target ACoS for the campaign again. And since we're a little bit above, we're just going to decrease it just a bit, going from $1.10 to $1. Now let's take a look at the search term tabs to see what we're actually showing up for. And again, we want to order this by clicks so that we're looking at the most important things first that are getting the most clicks. We also want to see click-through rate. So we're going to add that to the column so we can see what the click-through rate is for each of these search terms that we're showing up on. And you'll see, again, we have a mix of product targets and search terms in here. But in our case, this top search term is doing amazing. It's got a 5.5% ACoS. It's doing great. These other ones are producing a lot less data. So we're going to expand our time horizon here to get enough data to actually make a good decision. And we can see that this term is actually not doing well. It's got a high ACoS, so for whatever reason, our offer is not good compared to this offer. We're probably going to negate that product target. So we're going to put that in our list of product targets to negate. And we see this other one here. It's also enough data, close to enough data to make a good decision. We're probably going to negate that one as well. So we'll make our little list of product targets that we want to negate, then go to the negative targeting tab, click add negative product targets, and you can add your negative product targets there like we just did. And that's it. We have just optimized our category targeting campaign. All right, guys, nice work. Now the next type of campaign we're going to learn how to optimize is a video ad campaign, specifically in sponsored brands for this one. Now remember, I'm here in the cheat sheet. This is where you're going to see how to set up a campaign like this with these setup videos and with the step-by-step setup fields here. And we're going to talk through how to optimize these videos. Now remember, you're taking home this cheat sheet. This is available to you for free with the setup videos, at least, in the description of this video. It's the first link in the description of this video. So click that link and you can download this cheat sheet there so you know how to set up each of the campaigns that we just went through, how to optimize. Now let's go through how to optimize a video ad targeting campaign. Okay, so let's get into a video ad campaign and talk about optimization. So a difference you're going to notice here is the bid adjustments work differently. It's not as much about bid adjustments because you don't have bid adjusters for every placement like you do in sponsored product campaigns. All you have is placements other than top of search. So it really comes more down to actually adjusting the bids on each of the targets themselves. So to do that, it's the same thing. You click into the ad group and you can go to the targeting tab. I'm not going to go through that whole process with you guys already because we've done that multiple times already. But what's different is under ads, you're going to see all of the creative that you uploaded for this sponsored brand video campaign. And by the way, if you want to know how to set up a sponsored brand campaign step by step, I have a brand new sponsored brand training on my channel. I also have a training all about AI video ads and a training just about video ads in general. So check those videos out if you want to know more about that. But the main thing for optimization, besides the target bid adjustment, and the only other bid adjuster that you have available to you is the audience bid adjuster. You can adjust that the same way by looking at which placement's performing best and adjust it there, is the creative. The creative is the most important part here. So here, for example, we have 4 different videos that we loaded in. One of them was doing best from an ACoS perspective. And by the way, this is a super highly competitive category, very consumable. The lifetime ACoS on this is very, very low, even though the ACoS might look high to you, because this is a consumable product with a very high repeat purchase rate. This particular video creative did the best. In this case, we had actually 3 AI videos and 1 human-made video, and one of the AI videos beat out all the other videos. So we just turned off the videos that weren't performing well. You guys are gonna wanna load up anywhere between 2 and 5 different creatives to split test, because that gives you a better chance of finding a winner. And then you can constantly try to beat your winner. And that's the most important thing for these video ad campaigns. And similarly with sponsor display, whether or not you have custom creative or not, you're not gonna be focused on bid adjustments for those. You're gonna be focused on the actual bids of the targets. Now go off and optimize your campaigns and make them profitable. Remember guys, you can download this cheat sheet, the first link in the description of this video, so that you know how to set up each of these campaigns. And now once you set them up, you know exactly how to optimize them. Now, if you want to figure out how to partner with me to take over your PPC, to grow you profitably, click the link in the description of this video, and then you don't have to worry about doing all this optimization because you will have someone on your team who's already an expert at it. So click the link at the bottom of the description of this video to find out if you apply to become a Sophie Amazon PPC partner. And now that you know how to optimize your campaigns for profit, I want you to check out this video where I go through a new feature Amazon just released, which is the audience bid adjuster. We've had some fantastic results with this, and it can be an absolute X factor for your brand and for the profitability of your campaigns. So check out that video here, and I'll see you over there.